Hope you're having a good day. My name's Rachel and this is Rachel for Real. Today I thought that because I've got the day off work, I had to go to the hospital this morning for an x-ray on my knee, which was excruciatingly painful, but is over now at least. And I thought, oh well, I'll spend the rest of the day resting my leg, but also I can have that extra time to myself and make a video for you. So here we are. What I thought I'd talk about in this video is trying to fill the void. Now that sounds a bit dramatic, I appreciate that, but in a way it is exactly what it is. It's a void. When I spend money, which I do regularly, as you'll know if you've watched my videos in the past, I think I'm trying to fill a void. And it's not a void of lacking material items, because I sure as hell or am not lacking physical items, tangible stuff. I think it's a lack of connection with myself, and I think that because it's easy to spend money, and I also tend to watch a lot of videos on YouTube. That's my primary source of entertainment, or visual entertainment anyway, and I get suckered in by what other people are buying, what they're using. I go and look them up, and obviously I don't buy all of them, but there are some that I do go and buy based on the fact that I've seen other people using them. Now the void, rationally I know, cannot be filled by stuff. I've proved that. I've been around for nearly 60 years now, and I have stuff, and I've had more stuff, and I've got rid of stuff, and it has not changed the void. The void is there because I'm not fulfilling something within my nature, within my personality. It's hard to describe. I hope you kind of understand what I'm trying to get at. I'm trying to get at the sense of me unedited, not the version that perhaps I present to the world where I'm masking because of my ADHD, or I'm people pleasing, or any of those type of things. So what can we do about this? Well, in my case, I've started a little project, and I'm just at the beginning of week 2 now. And this is based on a book by a lady called Julia Cameron, and it's called The Artist's Way. A lot of people might have heard of this already, some of you might not have. So I'll just give you a brief rundown of what the book's about. It was written in the 1990s, so some of the things now don't take into account the fact that we have the internet and social media and all that kind of thing. But the basic premise is that you rediscover your creative self. Now, I've never considered myself to be a person who's creative. I struggle with crafting projects. I struggle with art. I can't play a musical instrument, any of those things. But I still thought it was worth working through the book, which is a spiritual path to higher creativity. And I thought I would apply it to my life and see whether I could delve down into what my void is telling me, and see whether I could fill my void in a way that was more nurturing, was more positive, and more helpful than just spending money and trying to fill it that way, because I've done that and it doesn't work. So whether I have a creative side or not, I don't know. Maybe I'll find out as the 12 weeks go on. But for now, I'm just using it as a life tool, basically. I want to find out what will fill that void. And if that's creativity in whatever form that comes in, brilliant. Through doing the first week, I have suddenly got an interest in drawing, just with pencil and pen, and I'm atrocious at it. But as this book says, it doesn't matter, and you have to let go of perfectionism. You have to let go of worrying about what other people think of you or think of your art, your writing, whatever it is that you would like to do creatively. So I'm having to just suck up the fact that I'm terrible and my drawings look probably worse than a 5-year-old does. But it can only get better from there, can't it? But it has given me something to do and it's been quite fun, so I'm going to carry on with that. Now there's two main tools for the Artist's Way, and the first one is morning pages. So each morning before you really wake up or do anything else, you don't scroll on your phone, you don't listen to the news on the radio, so you don't have all this input from the outside world that is so distracting and stressful. You write 3 pages, stream of consciousness writing, without trying to worry about grammar, punctuation, what you're writing, whether it makes sense. It's literally, you just keep the pen moving, keep writing whatever comes into your head, and you're supposed to do 3 A4 size pages. So when I first read that, I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to go out and buy a new A4 notebook because I don't have paper that's that big, and I've got to do it right. And then the adult part of my brain, which is probably the smallest part, but it is there, said, no, that defeats the purpose of trying this challenge. Go and use what you've already got. You don't need to be spending money. When you've used what you've got and that's run out, you can then go and buy A4 paper. So I have this little journal in one of these cloth drawers behind me, and it's been sitting there for ages. Can't remember why I bought it, when I bought it, and I think it's A5. Yeah, it's A5 size, not A4. And I thought, right, I will just use that. I've already spent the money on it. I've already got it. It's sitting there. No excuses, no procrastination, which I'm a gold medal winner in. And I started writing my morning pages in that. And when it's full, I will go and buy some A4 paper. But I will only buy a cheap sort of refill of paper. I won't buy a fancy book with a hard cover and all that kind of thing, because there's no need. The point of morning pages is that you basically do a brain dump and you just go onto the page, get out everything that's in your brain when you first wake up before you absorb content from the outside world, and then you close the book, you forget about it. Many people don't go back and ever read it. Some people go back and read it after a month or 2. She suggests that you can go back and read it, but leave a good period of time. But having written it for a few days now, I don't think I could read it because the writing is so appalling. I don't think I know what half the words were actually trying to say. We'll see. I might go back in a month's time and have a quick read and just see if there's any themes that keep coming up, because I think as you're emptying your mind of all the crap rattling around in there, there are bound to be things that come up regularly that bother you or that you struggle with or whatever. It's not the type of journal where you say, had a really bad day today, tomorrow I've got, work all day, but then I'm going to try and do some drawing in the evening. It's not that kind of journal. In fact, it's not really a journal at all. It's just continuous writing of whatever pops into your head. Anyway, so we'll see how that goes. The second part of the task that you're given during this 12 weeks is to take yourself on an artist date once a week. Now, Julian Cameron says that a lot of people struggle with this because they don't think that they can go somewhere on their own. I have no problem with that because I spend 95% of my time on my own, so if I want to go and do something, I have to do it on my own, otherwise I can't do it. So that's not an issue for me. There are a few things I feel a bit uncomfortable doing on my own, but for the majority of time, if I have a book with me or something to do, then I'm quite happy to sit in a cafe or go to the cinema on my own or that kind of thing. Probably just because I've had a lot of experience of having to do it. So you can come up with these artist dates. You're supposed to go on your own once a week. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a way of sort of tapping into that, well, 8-year-old, you know, when you're a kid and things are so exciting and you want to look at things, you want to absorb everything, you want to touch everything, you want to hear everything, you want to sing, you want to dance, whatever. It's trying to tap back into that unrestrained creativity. So, for example, you could go to a museum or an art gallery, you could go for a walk, you could lie on a blanket in the park and look at the clouds, you know, and see whether you can see pictures in the clouds. That's always a nice thing to do. For my first artist date, I went to Hobbycraft, which is a crafting shop in the UK. I don't know whether it's in other countries or not. And I just went and had to look at all the art materials, all the beautiful paint pots and tubes of paints and all those lovely colours. And if you're of an age where you remember the shop Benetton, they were often on the high street in a lot of towns, but also in airports, and they sold jumpers and shirts and things, but primarily jumpers. And they used to lay them all out in colours, and I could never afford one because when Benetton was around, I was a student or a new mum and didn't have any money to spare. So I like to go and have a look, but I never bought anything. But the paint in all these tubes and in all the palettes reminded me of the jumpers in Benetton and all the beautiful colours, and I found that quite inspiring. So that was my date. That was, you know, it was nice. It was nice to just have a look around at what artists use, what type of things they use, sketchbooks and things like that. So I have to go on another artist date this week, and I haven't decided what to do yet, but I'm very much looking forward to it. So this has sort of sparked some of my creativity and things that I would like to do. So what else have I been doing in the last few weeks, last couple of weeks? I have been reading, which, I don't know, it's not really creative, but I enjoy it and I can escape to different worlds and have adventures that I wouldn't have in real life. So currently I'm reading Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, and I don't normally read romance rom-coms because they just annoy me really, and they're very predictable. But I have seen people on BookTube talking about this book and saying that it's actually got quite a depth to it as well as the romance, and that there are issues going on in the main protagonist's lives that are serious and, you know, pose, I don't know, moral dilemmas and cause trauma and that kind of thing. So I'm about halfway through it at the moment. I'm really enjoying it. It's very good. It's quite funny, even though there are tough ideas dealt with, but I think the author deals with them really well. So I'm enjoying that. It's a nice frothy book in contrast to the classic I'm reading at the moment, which is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Now, this is one chunkster of a book, and I'm, 652 pages into the story, and it is 1,462 pages in total. So this is a sort of as and when reading. So I tend to go through a couple of days where I read it in bed at night, and then I need a little bit of a break from the language, because obviously the language is, it's quite flowery, it's very wordy, it's not sort of modern parlance, it's, you know, it's old language, old writing, so it takes much longer to read than, you know, a book like this, because, you know, this is written in the way we speak today, whereas this isn't. But the story's really good and I'm enjoying the story, and I will finish it, and I think I'll be quite chuffed that I've got through that much book. Anyway, so that's a couple of books that I've been reading lately. I also been having a lot of fun at the weekend. What day is it? It's Tuesday. So on Sunday, I had a potter into town, and the town as a whole has been working on a yarn bombing project, and it was set up, it must have been about a year ago now, 9 months, a year ago, and they were encouraging groups of people and clubs and things to knit or crochet characters from Alice in Wonderland. And at the end of all this time, when all the groups had got all their things together and they'd finished knitting and crocheting them, they would be displayed around town. And last weekend was when they were put up around town. So there's some retirement flats, and they put little animals and some of the characters from Alice in Wonderland out on their railings at the front of the block of flats. There was a big display on a green in the town centre, and they had a table set up with the Mad Hatter's tea party with Alice and the Mad Hatter and the White Rabbit and the people who had volunteered to make the things for the tea party had done jam tarts and cake and all these lovely things. I've got lots of photos to show you, so I'll insert them after I've just told you about it. And then in a churchyard they had the croquet with the flamingos and the Cheshire Cat and the Queen of Hearts, and it's wonderful. It's really brightened up the town. I think that the clubs and groups that have got involved with making all of these things have had a great time with it. And you can go into a health food shop in the town and pick up a map so that you can tour around the town and see all the displays. And it's wonderful, and it's very artistic, it's very creative, and it's a lot of fun. And walking around seeing people smiling, looking at these displays has been really nice. So enjoy the footage of that. It's coming up right now. Enjoyed that footage. I certainly enjoyed walking around looking at all the things. I don't know what they're going to do with them when they've finished the displays. There are a few that I've seen that I would love to have, so I don't know if they're going to auction them off for charity or what they're going to do. But yeah, it's a lovely thing to have seen, and a nice thing to get people walking around smiling and having a bit of fun. You know, it's lovely. In other news, I have been up to my allotment and watering. Oh God, it's like a desert. We've just had no rain, and it's supposed to rain this afternoon, but it's really windy and we get about 6 spots of rain and then it just stops. And it was supposed to be really heavy rain all afternoon, so I don't know whether it's going to do that later on tonight or whether it's just, you know, skip past us. And I'm really disappointed if it has skipped past us, because I didn't want to go up there and water again, because it's backwards and forwards with the watering cans to the tap, and at the moment my knee's very sore, so that, you know, it doesn't help at all. Anyway, I've got some clips for you of what's going on in the greenhouse. A few tomatoes. My cucumbers are growing. I've got flowers on my sweet pepper plants, but no sign of any peppers yet. And everybody up at the allotments are saying, oh no, I've got too many courgettes. And I I haven't got any courgettes. I don't know what's going on with my plants. They're tiny compared to everybody else's. They've got some flowers on, but I haven't seen, you know, the start of a courgette yet. So either I sowed them too late and put them out too late, or, you know, there's not enough male and female cross-pollination to grow the fruit. So I don't know what's going on. To be continued, basically. Just popped up to the allotment to water in the greenhouse, and my cucumbers are coming on very nicely. I hope they're not the horrible bitter ones. What else we got? A few tomatoes. Peppers are flowering, but no sign of peppers, even though other people seem to have much bigger peppers, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong there. A very wilty tomato plant, but you can see some tomatoes forming there. This is a plum tomato, which is why they're this funny shape. And this one's just traditional tomato, and if you can see here, there's one that's ripening next to 3 that have got a way to go yet. This really needs tying into the stake. So might do that one here. Yeah, that's about it in the greenhouse. Needs lots of watering. Very, very dry. It's supposed to rain tomorrow afternoon, but even if that's the case, you still have to come and water the greenhouse because it doesn't get rained on. So that's what I've been up to. Just a little chatty video. Thank you for joining me. Please like, subscribe, click the bell so that you know when more videos are coming up. I post them on Saturday morning at 10 AM UK time. And that's about it. So I'm going to carry on working with this. If you would like me to do a few videos about how I've been getting on with The Artist's Way, as I say, I'm just beginning week 2 at the moment. I'm very happy to do that for you. I can either do them to post on a Saturday, like a regular video, or I can do some supplementary videos halfway through the week. So if you are interested in this, please let me know, and I will happily talk more about my experience of this and what I've learned from it. It's 12 weeks, so, you know, maybe I could do a video every 3 weeks or a video every 2 weeks. Anyway, I'm interested to know whether you're interested in that. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next Saturday. Bye for now.